Hello, guys. We are the Hardcore 20's. It's our podcast. We're going to talk about the 20's and everything about it. My name is Armando Yepis.
Andrew Garcia.
Christian Mendoza,
Luis Carranza, and Oscar Valderas.
So let's do notes.
Yeah, it's pretty much we're gonna head straight into the notes and stuff because we gotta.
You do know, like, it's already been 100 years.
That is true. You know, it's
right
got a
now,
lot of information. We gotta research and stuff. You know, a lot of citations and whatnot. And like,
A lot has happened.
So pretty much, if I got my notes correctly, I'm gonna start us off. I'm gonna just start us off with the 1920s politics.
Yeah.
Politics and economy, you know, because a lot of things were going on in the 20s, you know.
a subject I don't like.
We're gonna start us off with like isolationism, you know. Back then, 1920s, it was like World War One had just finished, so the U.S. was like scared and stuff, so of all wars. So like pretty much they said, nah, let's go solo, and they like said,
Wait, what do you mean?
like they went like nah, like I'm not gonna involve myself in any war because like last war was,
they're trying to stay away from it.
yeah, because of Pearl Harbor and shit. No, not Pearl Harbor. That's two later on.
Wait, hold up. And what the community think about that?
I don't know. I mean, I think most people were excited because, you know, we're not partaking in war, you know, it's not more of that stuff.
They had less to worry about.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's how it is a little bit this today. Like, even though a lot of stuff is happening, I feel like we're not as worried about going into war as probably they were in the 1920s.
Right.
Yeah, you know, and basically we kind of like fell into like a Republic dominance where like that decade saw Republican president Harding Coolidge Hoover who favored pro-business and pro-business policies and limited government intervention, which pretty much said that like most businesses like didn't have to pay much taxes, didn't like they pretty much kept all their money. All the money they made was pretty much right out of their pocket, man, you know. And they didn't let the government, so pretty much basically, anybody know about governments, you know, how they take from businesses and stuff?
Like taxes and all that.
Can you explain that?
Like, they want the money for themselves for the government.
Oh, really?
Yeah. For like the military and stuff.
Yeah, and pretty much another thing that happened, like, with the politics was like, the Red Scare, man, the Red Scare, bro.
Tell them for the people who don't know the Red Scare.
The Red Scare was pretty much, it was like the fear of communism after the Russian Revolution led to anti-communist sentiment, crackdowns on labor unions and immigration restrictions. Yeah, pretty much everybody in the USA was scared that like communists were like
was gonna take over.
Yeah, they're like intruding the USA and stuff, you know, coming like uninvited and like they're like starting a government.
Everybody was scared.
Yeah.
Wait, but like, why don't we like communism?
Come on, dude, that's like South.
Come on, man, communism, man, you serious?
No, we don't like that, bro.
Are you serious?
Even in the 20s, 100 years later, we still don't like that, bro, you know? But look, how would you think America would be affected today if there was a Red Scare right now?
Hey, well, Spill. Honestly, let's just head straight into. We're not gonna.
Look, that's good. Cause look, do you think they'd be as scared as they were in the 20s compared to now?
Nah, because the army is strong.
I feel like they have more confidence in the army, like in our.
And people don't like communists anymore.
Nah, they don't.
Look, and we're gonna prohibition. Ooh, let me get you started. That pretty much, the 18th Amendment banned alcohol, leading to organized crime and widespread illegal activity.
Bro, see,
this went on to 1933.
A ban of alcohol.
Yeah.
Bro,
No more parties.
No more parties in LA, bro.
But see how it's changed now, though? Like, bro,
everybody can drink.
We could drink now. Well, maybe not us, but like past 21, yeah.
You can drink.
And you don't gotta worry.
I mean,
you don't gotta.
There was money there.
It became legal in 1933 and stuff. You know what I mean? But imagine, what do you think people did like to drink back then?
They went to like
If it was illegal, they did it.
I heard
if it was illegal,
about
they did it illegally.
The speakeasy.
Explain that. How you think manner
They went
like
to
Alright, so
bars,
think about it like nowadays.
Under the speakeasy.
Think about the substances that are illegal nowadays and how do people get them? They find ways.
But in the 20s,
why? Because they like that stuff.
Look.
Same thing in the 1920s with alcohol.
Let's just talk about the economy, man. Pretty much, booming economy. Pretty much, we started mass producing everything like cars and like consumer stuff, and the stock market went up. A bullish market fueled speculation and widespread investment. Credit and consumerism. Easy credit led to a surge in consumer buying and installment plan. Pretty much everybody's getting credit cards and buying stuff without their money. They were pretty much borrowing money from the bank.
I agree.
pretty
I mean, I would
good.
do that.
But something that was really like ignored was inequality and rural decline. Pretty much, prosperity was uneven. Farmers and laborers often struggled. Pretty much like farmers and laborers who like work like blue collar jobs, they didn't really care for them because they weren't important people, you know, low salaries and stuff.
The immigrants did.
Yeah, I agree.
They
Immigrants.
came to the blue collar jobs.
Yeah, pretty much. And I'm gonna just pass it on to Christian. He's gonna tell us about major events and key figures in the 1920s.
Let us know, bro.
Alright, so we're gonna start off with the ban, manufacture, sale, and transportation of alcohol.
Oh, that plays
So-
a big role in
What?
that prohibition.
Now you're gonna continue what I was saying.
Yeah,
Thank
that
you,
would-
thank
would-
you.
would-
Going back a little bit to what I mentioned when you were talking.
I wasn't able to finish. Tell me.
So basically, just like nowadays we can compare substances that are illegal, that are hardcore substances, and people find their ways. Why? Because they like them. Same thing back in the 1920s. People liked alcohol, turned
They
illegal,
love that.
and they found their ways to get it. And they did it illegally, obviously.
Yeah.
So we got the consequences and organized crime of Al Capone.
Oh, Al Capone.
Y'all know who that is, right?
Yeah, didn't he go to
Yo,
like Alcatraz?
yeah, I wanted to mention that, but I'm not sure if it was my subject. You know.
Yeah.
Tell me about Al
It's
Capone.
all
Who is Al Capone? Who knows? You know?
I don't know.
I feel like it's his place to tell us about it.
Yeah, tell us about Al Capone.
Well,
But he was
I
a
mean,
gangster, no?
well,
He was like-
yeah.
I just know
Everybody knows
I
him.
just,
Actually,
I just know he involved a lot of alcohol. He pretty much transported alcohol and
Well,
stuff.
Because that was where the money was at the time.
Yeah, he like pretty much
He was-
had a whole scheme with
Back
like
then he was
alcohol.
known for what, like
Selling alcohol.
obviously illegal stuff.
Selling alcohol.
He's wanted for a while.
Would
And
you
he made
say-
a
would
fortune.
you say you could compare, like, for example, like the cartels nowadays to like the mafia back then, and like the things they do?
They do illegal stuff like cartel, like to traffic
Yeah, it's
drugs.
just times have changed, so
Yeah.
they're just-
Humans.
they're just
I
selling
feel like
different
it's
stuff.
more like closer to like the modern version of what
Yeah.
similar, you know?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
that.
What else can you tell us about?
Alright, so the 19th Amendment is granted women the right to vote.
Ooh,
That's very
that's
important.
that's
Very
very
important.
important.
bro. That's big.
Because
for
all
history
women,
right
like,
there.
can you believe that women couldn't vote? Like, all these dudes were voting,
That
but
ain't
like,
fair.
That's crazy.
not a single girl could
They
like say,
deserve their
"Hey,
rights.
I want." I don't know who's the president at the time.
Dude, it's crazy because like nowadays, it's crazy. 100 years later, bro, it's equal rights now.
Yeah, like they can do. They
Back
can
then,
vote. They
bro,
can be in the army.
Yeah.
Hey, but it wasn't easy.
And
Women
they
had to
could
work.
work, like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
they-
rich. There's richer women than some men. You know what I mean?
Like,
Like,
and they do
exactly.
play a big role in some like factors, you know. It's crazy because back then they didn't have all that. They had
And this all
rich people.
happened in the 1920s too.
Exactly.
They all got
Crazy.
Crazy how evolution has been 100 years later.
and now,
Yeah,
now
back then they didn't
they
care
can
about
vote
being
for
equal.
Trump
Yeah.
or Biden, whoever they want. Man, doesn't
Exactly.
matter. Trump or Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Alright, and that follows up a little with fear of communism and
Communism.
Yeah, communism.
Okay.
Go.
mass arrest of deportations of suspected radicals. So that goes along with immigration.
Ooh, like a lot of people came into the country, huh?
Yep, they started arresting, deporting people.
Ooh, they kicking everybody
feel
out
like
because
But more-
they're
more
scared of the right. They're
Yeah.
scared.
I feel like 100 years later, that's happening again. But instead with like the Red Scare, it's happening with like the immigrants from like Mexico
Yeah.
crossing
Yeah.
over.
You think people
Yeah,
are
they-
scared of the Mexicans?
No,
I wouldn't
why do
say.
you think they're picking them out?
Yeah.
They're picking them out because
Because you think they're like
dangerous. They're
you
dangerous.
think they're dangerous people.
They're sending them back.
That's
to
a very
the-
touchy
Like with the
subject.
cartels.
That's a touchy
Or-
subject. I think we should switch. What's
Yes.
next?
Alright,
So
so this would be the stock market boom. The widespread
Ooh, I was telling you, man,
speculation
it
of
went
the
up.
market led to economic growth, but also instability.
Oh,
I like that, bro.
Because what? I'm guessing because there was like too many wealthy people and too.
Oh yeah, consumerism, right? What you say? What you say it again? Repeat that. What'd you say? Can you repeat it again, please?
A widespread speculation and a bull market led to
Oh yeah, pretty much
economic growth.
people like invested in stocks. Like they threw a lot of money into it. So like
thinking it was gonna boom.
they speculated it's gonna blow up. It's gonna make me
Oh,
rich.
But then what did the
So
government do?
so they threw government didn't do anything. It's pretty much they just threw all their money.
But the
And
market
the-
crashed.
the market-
Some markets crashed.
But like
The market was
happened-
booming. That's why
Yeah.
everybody was investing money and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's why it's saying that. That's why you
It led
said
to
about that.
unfortunate
I
events
agree.
later, but
I agree.
at this time in the 1920s, 100 years later or earlier, that's how it was.
Alright, so
Wait,
Okay,
hold on.
so-
what do you guys think about the music though?
Some
Like,
key figures.
No,
We're gonna get
the
into that, no?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on,
Some jazz.
a little bit part of the stock market. So
Oh,
basically,
so there, okay.
one of the first things that I was blowing up was the Model T Ford. What do you guys think about that?
Bro,
How do
that
you
is
guys feel?
crazy, bro. Cause
So, no, how about you tell me about some key figures?
Nah, that's dude. It's all about the Model T right
So
now.
basically, the Model T was like the very first car that went up.
Bro,
It was selling everywhere.
Bro,
That
100
Model T, you
Hey,
saw it
how do you
everywhere.
guys-
We're gonna show a picture right here. We're gonna show
How about we
picture.
move into...
Look, we're gonna put a picture of like a Model T right here, and then like a newer version of like
Yeah,
an electric
yeah,
vehicle
yeah.
nowadays. Dude, it's crazy, bro.
Times have changed.
How do you guys feel about that now that we got like electric vehicles now? Because we started from the Model T, and now we're not even using gases for some vehicles, bro.
To me, it's crazy. I'm against
Evolution,
electric
bro,
Which
vehicles.
is good for the planet, though, bro.
And maybe.
Yeah.
All right, so that's too
You
much.
like
That's too much.
Teslas?
What do you mean?
I say we move on
Teslas?
to a little bit of music.
Yes.
What do you think?
This is what I was talking about earlier.
Oh,
I love
I feel like
Oh, you love music.
Hey,
Compare it to today's music, you know?
Alright,
We want some good
Your
details.
cousin.
the 1920s.
Your cousin.
Yeah, my cousin. They're known as...
Wait, who's your cousin?
My cousin?
We're gonna show a picture.
Alright, so the 1920s, they were known as the Jazz Age, dude.
Ooh, I love jazz. I be
The
playing a lot.
jazz.
If a jazz man, I have a lot of jazz in my
Really?
playlist. Like I like to listen to some Louis Armstrong and some whatnot, you know.
What's your favorite?
I'm not sure. I have too many. I can't name them.
But they're all kind of like the same, no? It's just
No,
jazz.
yeah, but if you think about it, if you let your body relax and stuff,
You
know,
could feel like the different.
you can start
rhythms,
floating
everything.
you float up in the air, bro.
I mean,
Speaking of
Hey,
Louis
why don't you
Armstrong,
try
We need to try that.
I need to type in jazz.
Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, and Bessie Smith. They were one of the top people.
Bessie Smith, that's my mom's
Yeah.
favorite.
For real?
Yeah.
This was also the time of the rise of the radio, and this brought jazz to like every home.
What do you guys think about jazz? How
I
has
love
jazz impacted your guys'
Personally, I
life?
love jazz.
See,
Really?
Like late nights, like.
Late nights, looking at the stars.
Mm-hmm.
How has jazz impacted your life?
I feel like it hasn't, but just to see how much it's grown over the years, it is crazy.
It's
bro.
different, like you know,
Yeah.
from all the songs you hear now and then.
Like
you
it's
just-
it's
you
nice to see
relax,
where it
like,
originated and how it's still
Yeah,
going.
because
to
you
this
can't
day.
compare. What'd you say it was?
Louis Armstrong.
You can't compare Louis Armstrong with
So-
OG's.
Yeah, OG. Oh,
Yeah.
by
But
the
like,
way,
well,
it's his-
Oh, your
Exactly.
cousin,
Like,
right?
his
Yeah,
cousin.
your
That's
cousin.
what I'm
But
talking about.
look, I feel like you can't really compare that because it's two different genres, you know.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because back then they didn't have like rap or none of that.
They
It
have
was
OGs
mostly just like
in the 1920s.
I don't think
Yeah,
there was no rappers or
Yeah,
trappers
it was
in
like-
the 1920s.
OG's
it
in
was
the
big,
life,
like,
bro. This is the time of the Harlem Renaissance, where African Americans embraced their culture, which brought significant contributions to arts and music, especially jazz, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so okay,
Jazz wasn't also just music; it was part of a symbol of freedom and
a
rebellion.
symbol of freedom. You know, a lot of people can say people like dance to jazz, and you can compare
Like the
dancing
flappers,
to
man.
being free flapper.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know jazz had like a reason.
But
Like, I
look,
thought it was just like music.
Wait, look,
Oh,
if you
mm.
think about it like this, like even today, like when people like make music, that's like their freedom. They're able to speak what like they want on those tracks, and I feel like that was with jazz back then.
Yeah,
That's like that was their freedom, being able to speak whatever they wanted to.
you're right, you're right.
So
They got lucky
basically,
too, 'cause
music
the
is
radio
not
was
just music.
invented.
Music is some people's escape to reality.
Yeah, and I feel like that's some reasons why some people made like jazz.
Yeah, I feel that.
At this time, new instruments were also invented, like the saxophone, trumpet, and they became icons of the jazz sound. Man. There's many new technology like phonographs and records, which became affordable and helped music spread all over.
Okay.
Yeah.
The radio was.
Oh,
the
it is.
radio was a big thing too.
Hey, Oscar, what you tell me you were doing this morning?
Oh, dude, you're telling me you're on the radio, huh?
I was.
Yeah, you like.
Listen to that the FM 91.8.
I was
98.1.
actually. I was.
On the way to school, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
crazy.
In the morning, like they put some bangers on usually in the morning.
There's many also like new culture and like fashion during this time, like flappers during the Harlem Renaissance.
Okay.
But I think you got it, Oscar.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the.
Get into that.
What does the
fashion.
fashion look like compared to
Ah,
nowadays?
A big thing was the flapper look.
Oh, the flapper look.
It
You
was
know,
just
we
on
can
women,
talk
it
about
was
the
on-
flappers. You
It's on
know,
women.
I think flappers were like very like impactful. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of women were wearing the flapper dresses and stuff. You
Because
know,
before that, they used to wear long dresses, and then the flapper look, it was kind of like a short dress.
because they were
bob hair,
rebellious.
Yeah.
They want to change their culture.
Yeah, they weren't like
beaded accessories.
they wanted to be independent and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
What do you guys think about the flapper dress?
It was like a rebellion, basically.
Honestly, I like it.
Post the World War One.
Like,
I feel like during those times, there was a time where like they started to feel more free.
Well,
Started
yeah,
coming
I mean,
up with
that's when the
more, like,
19th
just
Amendment
cutting.
came about too,
Mhm.
around
Yeah,
that time.
yeah.
And that's why I feel like we also gave them like more reasons to have more like equal rights.
Yeah. We can also get into the men's style. Like us right now,
Oh,
like we
dude,
wearing.
bro, look at everybody in this room. Everybody, you know, maybe similar, maybe different,
But
but
back then,
everybody is different.
we would
from how
all
they
wear
were.
suits.
Yeah.
We would all be wearing suits if we're in
Yeah.
1920 right now. Some suits.
I
with
still wear
white
suits to
lace.
this day. You know, for an important day and stuff.
When we go to a nice proper place, you know, you
Yeah,
wanna
you
you wanna
gotta-
look proper, you
gotta
wanna
dress
look
up
nice.
like a
And that was normal back then. That was
Yeah.
normal.
they're always proper.
I don't know about y'all,
professional.
but I see Mondo wearing suits to school. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like-
sometimes. Only when the day is right. You know, like on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
We could also get into designer and trends in the 1920s.
Dude, I already know that's gonna
Like
be different
Gucci.
compared to.
So okay, we could talk about Coco Chanel's influence.
Ooh,
Coco
Coco
Chanel.
Chanel. Chanel is up here to this day. You know what I mean?
Real, dude.
Chanel's
Bro,
really
that's crazy
nice.
how a lot of things
It
from
was
the
just
20s are
elegance.
still here to this day,
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
or even just evolutionized. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, I think. But how do you think Chanel looked back then to it looks now?
I don't know.
Look,
I think it was more
pop
like-
up right here, dude.
Like Chanel in the 1920s, Chanel in 2025.
It's crazy. It says right here it was a rise of. Oh no, it's a rise of ready and wear clothing and department stores.
Mm.
Okay, we could also get into cultural influence on fashion. Okay, like we talked about, it says Jazz Age and Harlem Renaissance aesthetics. Influence of Prohibition era speakeasies on evening wear. You know, we could also get into the slang and language.
Slang.
Ooh.
I love me some slang, man.
Okay, some popular slang terms were bees knees, pants, pajamas, giggle water.
What did they mean? What did
Yeah,
they
hold on.
mean?
Before,
Yeah.
how do you feel that that's what like their slang was back
What would
then?
you, yeah, what would you think if you hear, hey,
Like if someone
bees
person-
knees
someone
right now?
let's drink some giggle water and it meant alcohol.
Dude,
don't know what
I
would
would
do.
start laughing.
Giggle water.
dude.
I
Giggle
think
water?
I
Why
would
is it
think.
called equal water?
Bro,
I don't
that's
know.
probably why you
That's
start
kind of
giggling,
weird.
man.
Yeah, look,
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
giggling now, man.
But I had some, bro.
Did you have some giggle water or what?
Maybe.
I don't know.
What's some other slang? You
It
say?
says heebie-jeebies.
Ooh, what does that
hey,
mean?
I feel like
does
that
that mean?
sounds familiar.
I've
Like,
heard it
ooh,
before, though.
yeah.
Like the
I'm guessing
movie.
like
The
yeah, like
heebie-jeebie
scared,
movie?
like
What does it mean?
Like you
The
get
movie.
scared. I'm guessing.
Ooh, I got the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you walk in a dark room. Oh shoot, I just got the heebie-jeebies.
Ooh.
Like, see, like that.
I like that. I like
Where do
that.
you get the heebie-jeebies?
Like, what would you
When
say?
I'm up in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. getting food and my parents are all asleep.
Ooh, the heebie-jeebies.
I be walking in the
What
kitchen
about
and I'm
you?
like,
What gives you the heebie-jeebies?
Darkness, bro.
Ooh, personally,
Look, it's-
I get heebie-jeebies from nightmares.
But look,
Mm.
but like, moving on from that, like,
Yeah, we-
what else? Like, what's
Okay, I can give you guys some context on how like that
How
the
it was
slang,
used?
Yeah, teach me.
the prohibition, jazz, and underground culture shaped slang. So I'm guessing
Mm.
you know, slang as a form of rebellion and youth identity. So like mostly the
so
youth
you're
was
saying
saying,
slang came from jazz music?
and like the youth started saying like how we say.
So you tell me like people our age were talking about heebie-jeebies and
Something
But
like that.
that's
Talking about the
that's
heebie-jeebies.
happening
Get
to this day
water.
too, though, because we have our own slang nowadays, and like
Yeah.
we probably got that from other people seeing growing up,
Yeah.
and that's probably what happened with them too.
I just like the same thing with like music and stuff.
Music, yeah,
Yeah.
same thing, yeah.
And we could also get into radio and mass communication. I'm telling you, it was a big thing.
Radio.
The rise of the radio and how it helps spread slang and accents. The impact of jazz and radio announcers on spoken English.
Dude, you know how you're just saying you're listening to the radio in the morning, right?
Yeah.
On the way to school. Back then, it was like it was a little harder for people to get. How do you feel that nowadays radios are everywhere? They're in cars, houses.
Planes.
But you think about it, people aren't really using radios as much today. You know,
Well, like when you get in your car, you connect
Yeah.
to music.
Yeah,
That's using the radio
or
right there.
or if let's say you're missing out on a sport, you can't watch it, and you're listening to it on the radio.
Yeah.
You can listen to it there. Like Andrew, you wanna talk?
Bro, my hair, dude, I have a date to prom right now, dude. My hair's all got messed up, bro.
I'm gonna keep it. It looks bad, bro.
Really?
Like you need something, bro.
Bro, the wind.
Hey,
bro,
what are you guys
like,
talking about? What are you guys talking about?
I have a date right now, bro. My hair's all messed up.
Man, you know I got the perfect thing for you. Look what I got right here, man.
Dude, what is that?
Brand new
What
Infinite
is
Pro
that?
Conair blow dryer,
You
man.
think it'll help my
It's
hair?
gonna fix
Oh,
your
you're
hair.
all
Look,
set,
look.
you're all set.
Look, come here. Plug it into the wall. Plug it into the wall.
Let's go. Let's see. I got a date right now, let's see.
Hey, I might need that, bro.
Hey, come get some.
Get some, bro. I'm a little dude, bro. Where can I find it?
Oh, you can find this like at your local
So how
store,
much? How
man.
much?
Hey, I'll sell you this one for free, man. You don't have this one, bro. Have it, bro.
Hell yeah,
Have a good
I'm gonna
day,
get my
bro.
date.
Have a good day,
I'm
bro.
gonna get my date.
Take care, man. Later, man. Because you know,
I know somebody that everybody knows. Babe Ruth.
They don't even get started on.
hey, Babe Ruth right here, Babe Ruth.
Hey, if you don't know who that is, it's right here. But you
Babe
should.
Ruth. Hey, baseball legend.
For real.
Oh, that you rocking that hat.
Oh,
You rocking
yeah.
that
The
hat.
New York Yankees team right here.
Oh, and speaking
In
about
the 1920s, New York Yankees in the
Look,
1920s.
and he goes to the Yankees in 1919, right?
Right before 20s.
And the Yankees become one of the best teams in the world.
How
History.
long was he in the
The
Yankees
difference a
for?
person can do.
Years, like over 10 years.
So he carried a long legacy in
Oh, he
the
did. A lot of the championships that he's gotten.
Babe
See,
Ruth
show
with
this
him
right here,
with
show.
the Yankees.
Yeah, see, like it's crazy.
Hey, that wasn't easy though.
It wasn't.
Yeah, a lot of hard work and stuff because to get to that level, you know, like
Look,
that's
I feel like because when he got traded from the Red Sox to the Yankees, he got a lot of hate, and I feel like that's still happening to this day when like a pro athlete goes to another team.
Yeah.
That older fan base becomes really
like
toxic.
Luka
and starts
Doncic.
hating.
I
Yes,
good
with
job for
the
reminding
Lakers
me.
nowadays, that's like similar trade. Only thing is, who knows what the Lakers are
Like,
gonna
if we
keep
talk
him.
about Luka Doncic, you know how like the nowadays the Lakers let go
Would you say he's similar to Babe Ruth, like how he was in like popular?
because pretty much
James.
LeBron James needed a big teammate and Anthony Davis was his good teammate, but they still got rid of him and brought in another star. Like they got rid of one of the really good players for another good player, but obviously it didn't really come out too much in the season.
I feel like that's enough with baseball. You know, baseball was a big thing back then. But look, there's another sport, boxing. And I know to this day we still watch boxing. You know, this guy right
hold
here.
up, hold up.
him-
Don't you do boxing?
Yeah.
Well, and his cousin Jeezy.
Oh,
Oh,
you
yeah.
could. Dang.
Hey,
All
some shout outs real quick,
your
some
whole
shout outs.
family's
Hey, bro.
successful people.
Hey,
man.
but you guys know Jack Dempsey.
Luis Carranza boxing.
Hey, it says, you know, I don't know much about him. I've heard, like, I've done my research. He ruled the ring back in those days.
Cool.
What do you mean?
Jack Dempsey.
Jack
He
Dempsey.
had that raw power.
Jack Dempsey right here.
When he would step inside that ring, off the videos I seen, you could just see he had that raw power. Like, you could just see it. Like, I'd say
Instant fades.
he remind me like Canelo or like Floyd Mayweather, you know, how when they step onto the plate, you could just see, oh, they got that raw power.
Yeah.
That's how I'd say
Yeah,
Jack
like
Dempsey was in the
20s.
20s. Yeah.
Okay.
Like Mike Tyson did.
Yeah, that's crazy. And
Nowadays, who do you think rules the ring?
Or it's because I would say like what
Canelo
it
Alvarez.
was, he fought 2 days ago. It was whatever
Oh,
fight, but
he won.
He made
But if you
millions,
think
he
about
made
it, it wasn't
millions.
his fault, you know. It was his opponent
Yeah, it
who
was-
was dancing all around the ring. You can't lie.
Let's move
He
on.
was,
Let's move on.
And back then, you know, nowadays we still have college football, but we also have NFL, and that's what I feel like a lot of us like watch. Then,
What about
Yeah.
soccer, man? Everybody ignores soccer, man.
bro? It was big back then, dude.
That is. What do you mean?
I-
Soccer
in the
is the biggest sport in the whole world.
But in the 1920s.
Right now, though, that's right. That might be right.
Oh,
now.
you're right.
In the 20s, though,
Talking
it
about
could've been
soccer,
different.
we got a soccer player right here.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
Mondo playing.
He
With
plays
the
soccer.
trophy, with the
Me
trophy.
with the
Yeah.
trophy.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But look, instead of the NFL, it was college football back then. Everybody
Oh,
was on
college
that.
football.
Yeah, and that's still
College
big to
football
this day.
team.
People,
Yeah.
they're on the Saturdays. Maybe they don't even call them to work. I'm not going today. I'm watching the game.
True.
That's what happens on Saturday. You know what I'm saying? A big team now back then, and it's still around to this day. Notre Dame,
Notre
big.
Dame.
They're big back then. Dude, you know?
Notre Dame.
I don't say they're like these two. There's different sports, different teams, but they're almost equivalent of how like the greatness was
Yeah.
back then. So
That's
then-
gonna be it for like the
This
podcast. That's it. It's gonna be it.
it was a pretty
Uh,
good way to
more on
finish
the
off,
next
you know,
episode.
like finish.
Yeah, I'll see you guys next episode on the Hardcore 20.
Hey, depends on
Goodbye.
next week.